this weekend.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to spend a great deal of time on it, but I would like to hear how people felt about it, what your individual experience was.
So let's segment it down to chorus part first, and we'll talk about the infrastructure of putting on the contest separately.
Oh, yeah, right.
So let's talk about our time on stage first.
Our performance, our 6 minutes.
I'd like to ask the new guys that had their first experience singing with what they thought.
I thought the time on stage went very quickly.
It does.
You spend hours and hours and hours preparing, and in 6 minutes it's gone. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I thought, people talked about the stage being a different sound, and your sound kind of dissipating. I definitely felt that. And I thought listening to other choirs was kind of like, it was impressive, but it was also kind of like eye-opening. Like, okay, this is where we should be someday. So that was intriguing.
Yeah.
Learn that we're not a comedy chorus. We're not a tone-deaf chorus. We need to focus more on music as opposed to choreography that doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Well, the nice lady that gave the critique said, if you had only had the shoulder turns have meaning, like maybe go like this, or like this, whatever it was we were doing that 4 months ago, and we just kind of decided we couldn't do it. But maybe we just need to start 4 months earlier, I'm not sure what it is, but we didn't have the choreography and the music together early enough to be able to get comfortable with it, so that once we got on the stage, I think we probably looked awkward. And I'd really like to someday have the music perfect early enough so that we can add the choreography and then have a month or two to practice it, music plus choreography.
My question is, what is early enough? Because we did that song for 2 years. So what's early enough? Yeah. And we still didn't know the words or the notes. The bell chord was never correct. That's 2 years of working that song. So I guess the question is, what's early enough?
Well, maybe throw something in.
Yeah, that's where my 2 cents worth is, that I don't disagree that comedy, although our best scores were in presentation, of all of our singing of the three things, presentation was our highest marks. So, we need to play to whatever our strengths are. The challenge is I'm not sure we know what those are yet. So we need to create some strengths that we can play to, find the right songs, and we have to decide if we're willing to put the effort in to, Tone Deaf did the same thing. We put in minimal effort and got minimal results. We put in decent effort as a chorus to get ready for this, but can any of us truly say that we had our parts down to the best of our ability? I know I can say I didn't, and I think we have to decide as a chorus, do we want to put that kind of effort in, or are we a chorus that has fun? So those are the choices. So.
Well, personally, I'd rather sing a simpler song good than a complicated song bad.
I'm reminded of one of our rehearsals just before, where we really had the vocals down really sweet, and then we added in the choreography and everything went to shit. I think that the choreography was very complex, and one thing that some of the comments I heard backstage about some of the other choruses is they were more serious, and they just took people like a storm. They had the dynamics, they had it was all about the music. And I think we did try to make it more about funny, it's a funny song, but I think if we focused more on the music and a little simpler choreography, that we would our scores would have been a lot better.
Okay, I was not on stage. I actually listened from the back of the auditorium. And I thought you guys sounded pretty good. The one thing that I noticed is that the blend seemed to work. You know, it didn't sound like one part was dominating, and I don't think as a whole you were singing too loud. I don't know if you got any notes about that, but at least from my point of view, I could hear, you know, I could hear, like I said, not one, I could hear the blend. You sounded good, in particular on the first song.
Go ahead.
For me, I think we need to think of this as a singing contest. And we're 11.5 points below. We've been for 3 years, 11.5 to 10 points below the third place quarter. So it seems obvious to me that, you know, to be in the contest, to be in, you know, any kind of competition, we need to improve our singing.
Yeah.
And for 3 years, that hasn't happened. So it's either a simpler song or
Well, those are the same basic scores we received in the 13 years that I've been with the chorus. They've all been within a point or two. That is our score. So not just the 3 years. That's been, you know. kind of our-
and is that our level?
It's our level. It's our level of commitment.
It's on your
Yeah.
I've said this before, and I'm not holier than thou. I don't think I was at my best. I had the excuse of being sick, but that's not an excuse, it's a reason. But I wonder, in your heart of hearts, how many people put in more than maybe listening to it on a tape on the car and on Thursday nights before rehearsal? I think that learning the songs, as we all know, you got to know the songs before we get to choreography. Because every little addition after we are perfected on whatever's first is going to create cacophony and awkwardness until that becomes perfected. So adding the little things, building up, we need to pace that more appropriately in the whole months leading up to it. But my big issue is how many of us in our heart of hearts really do put in the effort between Thursdays. Frankly, I don't. I just want to put it out there.
One more thing. I think it was awesome. I had a blast. And I enjoyed it.
Well, great.
That's important.
So first of all, so I agree with that. I thought it was really fun. And a thing that I noticed practicing and right before the competition and stuff was, I mean, I can't speak for other people's sections because I only really sang my section, of course, but it seemed like throughout the entire time that we were practicing for this, that people within the same section were on really different pages on what the notes were, even like right before the competition actually happened. And I'm wondering if maybe practicing individually in sections would help more with that, because I've noticed that when you're all, okay, leads, you sing this part, only you, people tend to get on the same page a lot quicker when we can only hear each other.
Yes. Okay.
I'd just like to say that I think the idea of sectionals, or at least breaking our parts up, you know, having Redcons go and practice their part can be really useful, not just for actually learning the part, but for learning how you need to adjust certain notes based on where you are in the chord and things like that. I think
That's the real purpose of sections. Sectional shouldn't be about.
Well, and what we have to do, for sectionals to be effective, we have to raise the bar to where we have somebody in every section who can genuinely lead a sectional.
Yeah.
Feedback that I got was that the chorus itself sounded very good, as good as ever they heard us before, until we got into pushing ourselves around on the stage, and then we aren't capable of singing while we're being jammed up in the back and forth. Now, maybe some people can do that, but obviously we didn't. But before we got into that,
I'll address that in a minute.
It was a great experience. I loved it. My little daughter loved it to death. I had a great time. And it turns out that, you know, I've got a biology background. It's different parts of the brain, right, that you're using to sing, that you're using to do the choreography. And so, Royce, you said earlier, we were up on, I think you were talking about when we were up at the Manor, and we kind of nailed the song one time, and it really felt good. And then we started trying to add the choreography, and it kind of all went to pot. Well, you know, you're switching from one side of your brain to the other. You're trying to learn something new. it's gonna be hard to do that, and I think if you really wanna do that well, there's probably some kind of exercises that you can do where you practice maintaining a scale while doing a maneuver or something to try to train yourself to be able to do both at the same time.
You have to use both parts at the same time?
You do?
So I just did a quick study of the spreadsheet, and it looks to me like of the 18 years I've been doing this, about 11 of them were below 60, and 7 of them were above 60. So we did better than our average. And there's something really slick happening in this room right now.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people who can do what he was just talking about. Can bounce around and stuff and also sing well, because they're not 90. And this is going
But
to
I'm
happen.
also, that's a crutch because, you know, some of us have sang with Salem on a set where we got perfect 100s. We got perfect 100s, and we took 5th place at nationals. And there were guys on that stage. There were guys 70s plus on that stage, a bunch of them. So
There were blind guys on that stage.
yeah, there were blind guys. There were blind guys on that stage. So that's a crutch.
One time, Kevin.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of little things that can all be tied together, right? Between having to know, like you said, having to know your music and then being able to dance. Like you said, getting comfortable on stage. The trick to that is be self-responsible and know your part so well that it's second nature. That way your brain is only focusing on choreography. And then you get that to the point where that's second nature. So where the only thing you're focusing on is him. And the emotional trip you're trying to give the audience. That's the trick. Okay, put in the groundwork.
1, 2, 3.
But we did. People were entertained, and I know that's important. Ultimately, that's what matters to all of us, is people were entertained by what we did. So.
To me, the whole performance is in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
We could hash it out about why we did this, why we did that. I knew from the first 4 measures of our first song that we were going to score maybe 60. And there's no choreography going on, people, in these first 4 measures. It's not the chorus or the quartet who can sing the best. It's the chorus and quartet that can execute. These other choruses don't have A voices. They're B and C, but maybe an occasional A voice in there. They're no different. They're no different than we are, but they execute. I knew the choreography was troublesome for a lot of you, and I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose. I think that we tend to get too damn comfortable being mediocre. We're satisfied by being mediocre. And if that's where you want to be, so be it. I mean, come to that agreement. We won't worry about it. I needed to point out and make a point that performance is a major part of what we do, or should be. If all we're going to do is sing, we'll make a CD and sell CDs, and put on shows. But I think people come to see us perform as well as hear us. So what do we do? How do we get better? In order to get better at something, you have to change something. And each individual needs to find what they need to change from what they were doing yesterday. And be willing to make that change. No one's going to force it on you. But nothing happens. Everything remains the same unless we collectively make individual changes. That's kind of an odd statement, isn't it?
Accurate, though.
Yeah. We commit ourselves, and come over here. It was, you know, we're a singing organization, so we have to sing one, and that's the bottom line. We don't gain in artistry by hashing out those words and notes week after week after week after week. We never get to the point where we can gain that artistic presence of music. That's why our music scores are 59.
I like Daniel's idea of, kind of learning certain motions that, where they almost become body memory, and just because we do it every time we're, whatever we're doing, it's like.
There was a comment made that the choreography was too complex. I gotta tell you, it's pretty damn simple.
That's a simple sketch.
It was pretty damn simple compared to the choruses that I've sung.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Do you think that what the SP judge, Charlotte, was saying, that doing these different things in different moods, do you think that's simple? Do you think you don't have to think about that? It's just as complex, if not more complex, than moving your feet. So I don't want to hear whining about I had to move my feet. If we're going to be performers and entertain, that's what we got to do.
Sorry, one thing that Justin and I came from a course that is strikingly similar to this course.
So I keep raising my hand about.
And yeah, like, there's multiple times a night where him and I would look at each other and go, well, that's a deja vu moment. But one of the things that we found in our last course is that the key to success is enthusiasm. The key to enthusiasm is understanding the scale from amateur to professional. We found that most of the guys in the course had never listened to anything beyond learning tracks. Their understanding of professionalism is learning tracks. I encourage you guys, go out, and Justin can attest to this, I'm a barbershop addict. I'll sit there and I'll listen to it for 8-10 hours a day. Don't be like me. Be close.
Yeah, be normal like me.
And to kind of round that off, at least on we weren't there, end of that.
Yeah, we were amazing.
Awesome.
I held on to a crumbling chorus with all my might, and I felt it fall from my fingers. I want to hold on to something because it's taken off without me. So let's do that.
I can tell you guys the reason why I'm here tonight for a second time is because every single person here the night that I first came here and tonight has said mediocre is not okay. That's why I'm back.
Here's, for me, and I know that I am willing to work as hard as the level of the chorus is that I'm in. I put no effort into learning. I can stand up. I'm a good enough performer and singer that I can put no effort into it and get a 60. And I knew we were going to get a 60, so I put the amount of effort required to reach the level that we were at. That's my fault. I need to put in an 80 effort and try to bring people to me to a 70 or whatever. I've got that skill if I apply myself to it. So I'm going to challenge myself and everybody else. If we just show up on Thursday nights and hope for the best, it's never going to get better. The great choruses, the good choruses, the Salem Synodaires, they know their music, and they're a very good chorus. They're not a great chorus, but we'd be happy with 80 scores. Sure. I don't care about scores. 80 score means you sounded good. Yeah. So that's all that matters. So if we all are willing to, I think the music committee, the leadership of the chorus is willing to get us the songs earlier, but we can't go home and teach them to you. So that's where the commitment has to come as a chorus, that we are willing to get behind a song and learn it to the best of our ability. And I know I've been both ways. I've been on stage with Salem, knowing the song backwards and forward, like you talked about with the quartet. We can start those songs most anywhere and go. You don't really know a song, but you can start it anywhere. And so that's what we have to do. And I think we got there's something happening here that I've been in this course quite a while. Look how many people are in this room. I started this course, there were 40 guys nightly, and then 39, 38, 37, 22, 18. But we're heading back the other direction, and now's the time to recommit ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that we have the wrong objective in our minds for what we're supposed to be doing with bid.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I'm saying that I think as a group, we have the wrong image in our minds of what we are supposed to be doing with Bill and everything. Bill has the capability to interpret a song. But it depends on us to know the words and notes. You can't put the words and notes in our minds with us. It's not possible. And what we need to do is to change our preparation habits in the direction of expecting that when we come here, Bill is going to make music out of our words and notes. Not make words and notes of it and not do tempo. Tempo, words and notes and all that should be second nature. Because when he's standing here in front of us, he's solving in real time some very complex musical problems. He's looking at what we're doing and where he'd like the music to be going and the mood of the audience and all sorts of factors. And he has the capability of doing that. We are letting him down. We need to be coming here with the ability to get in touch with his interpretation at the time and in real time. What we need to be able to do is to be with Bill's interpretation dynamically as he makes it, because he's solving all those problems, and not be having to be concerned about words, notes, and technique. So I think we need to change our procedures, change the way we go about our business, whatever it takes to get that done.
We have two late arriving guests who probably wonder if we ever sing. So we had a contest last weekend, so you caught us at a time when we do sing mostly at our rehearsals, just not today.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
It's all right.
Can we talk about the contest itself, the running of it, or whatever you're ready to?
Well, I'm not quite through here, I don't think. So I think that we need to decide what level of commitment we're willing to make. One of the biggest things, one of the changes in a chorus that I've seen is when you get on those risers and there's a level of trust. You know that the guy standing on either side of you knows his stuff cold. Boy, does that free you up. Does that make you confident? Does that let you concentrate on selling the song? Because that's level of trust. And when somebody's singing wrong notes in this ear and somebody's singing wrong notes in that ear, you begin to wonder yourself, am I singing wrong notes? So that's the kind of commitment I think is basic that we have to make. You know, we're a great group of guys and gals.
Thank you.
And I don't think there's a person in here that would be unwilling to help if you ask for it. I'm really having problems with these measures here. Can you help me? I don't think there's a person here who, if they know them, would be unwilling to help them, whoever that was. We've got to develop that kind of culture, guys. We really have to help each other. We can't progress very rapidly unless we up the commitment. That's basically it. And I know some of you have very, very strong feelings about music, about selection of music. We want to hear them. That's what part of what music team does in the selection process. I always want to challenge.
We're giving it to you.
Okay. So, moving on.
Move on to, first I want to give everybody in this room a Did you have something wrong?
I was gonna introduce the guests.
Let's do that real quick, that's more important than anything.
Okay, let's see, which I started that end or this end.
Yes.
The most recent guests that we have are Rose and Terry.
Hello.
And they're both Oregon Shakespeare Festival actors.
Whoa.
And singers.
Did you, you're
And
supposed to be on stage right now,
They
did you?
found us on Meetup, Don. So good job. And so
Why are you
welcome,
getting
and
credit?
eventually we will actually be doing some singing tonight. And of course, Justin and Kevin.
Oh.
And I almost feel like I should introduce him as a guest, but he's not a guest, he is a full-fledged member.
Really?
Logan! Working double shifts, double jobs, two double girl, no.
Don't let them find out.
He's getting married, guys.
Any chorus that you're writing?
Welcome everybody, so, I'm afraid to single out, as Bill said in his email, I'm afraid to single out somebody because I'm going to forget some people, but I'm going to single out. First off, on social media, from our Facebook pages, from everything, you know, from Bob Cox to the president to Billy Jim Bob, whatever his name is, to random people on the interweb, to emails, nothing but kudos, and barbershoppers love to bitch. So there was not a single complaint, and lots of kudos on a very well-run event.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody.
Yes.
So, I want to point out a few people in particular. Vance.
Yo!
Vance and I have developed a very close relationship over the last but it ran seamlessly, and you put a lot of effort, and I know that your body hasn't wanted you to put in a lot of effort some of those days, but you did, and thank you. And the guys who did the plaques, Jerry and Bert, they were beautiful. Thank you for what you did there. And the judges and dealing with everything, Bill and Tom for driving people around and all that. Thank you. Afterglow was perfectly the best one Afterglow we've ever had. I think we actually earned a profit on the Afterglow, and I don't think they can possibly understand what a terrible job registration is for one of these events. It is so much infrastructure and paperwork and computer nerd stuff. Hey, Doug. So thank you. Thank you. The show of champions ran very, very well. It was super clean. Big kudos. Bam, bam. Thank you, man. And Don and Mikey, there was so much that I was like last minute calling, I need you to, and it was always yes. And so thank you for what you did. And
It happens when you live 3 blocks from the venue.
yeah. We had so many runners and guys, Tim, everybody who helped. I don't think there's a person in this room who's a member of our chorus that didn't, moving the stuff, getting there early and doing everything. I know that I am forgetting somebody who did something important, and I apologize for that. But Jim, your work with the judges, thank you for that. We had with the MCs, not the judges, but the MCs. It was that all went great. I don't know. What's that?
Ziggy with the MC.
Well, you don't have to mention me twice.
Well, no, that's show champions all inclusive with that, and it was just a really well run event. That God hopes we don't ever have to do again. But it was a crazy week last week.
Do it every year or never.
Yeah, every year or never. Yeah, it's hard. Every 12 years is you forget what. And Bob Hall put a lot of effort in. So.
I just wanted to say two or three words here about the team that brought the 16 boys in from South Medford High School.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a unique experience.
Yeah.
And it has made an impact far beyond what you could have imagined.
Yeah. And Roger, thank you for all that, and hauling those risers and doing all that you do, and moving the stuff, and constantly, you know, Roger, that's a lot of work you put in. And the kids were the hit of the show, and were the envy of the barbershop area now, because everybody wants to know. I went to we had the president's meeting, I get to be all, you know, official president meeting and stuff, and we are infrastructure-wise the envy of the district. Nobody has the bank account that we have. They're all crazy envious of that. You know, I didn't flaunt it too much.
Thank you, Jim Collier.
Yeah, but also just the work we do in the schools. They all wonder, and they're like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, well, we go into the schools and ask them what they need. And they all go to the schools and say, "We sing barbershop. We want to teach you barbershop." And their schools say, "Go away. We're busy." Bob Powell has given us a new paradigm, was to go into the schools and say, "How can we help you?" And then they tell us what they need, and then we try to fill that need. So it's exciting, and everybody, it was a really great weekend, and we will have to do it again, but not for a few years.
Hey, Michael, you had so many people in the chorus working that one of our guests from last week was doing the curtain.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. No, everybody.
Aaron? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody got involved, so that was good. Cool.
Yeah.
Michael, you forgot somebody that did an incredible amount of work, one Michael Biggs.
I want to speak from the wife's perspective as a former wife.
Good for you! Good for you! Wife's portrait is it?
In our former chorus, we didn't have the benefit of Jim Collier. So we did a lot of fundraising, bake sales, ice cream socials. In fact, I recommend the ice cream social. It's a great way to get the porch that's going around, circulating, and raffles, all sorts of stuff like that. The bottom line now is we had a booster section. The wives, the boosters had their own pins. They had their name. They were out, so they were members. And I think that there were a lot of women, the wives, mothers, sisters, whatever, that were pitching in. That I think that if we had an actual booster club, and they would love the idea of having bake sales. If we need to send the money to another chorus, adopt a chorus or something like that, that's fine. But I think they want to be pitching in, not just once every 12 years.
And from it, we don't have the final numbers yet, because we don't even have all the bills yet. But we did make money on the weekend, so we don't know. I don't want to give you a number because I don't want it to be wrong, but it will be wrong. It would be absolutely a guess, but we didn't. I know we didn't. There's no way we lost money unless Doug sold it. So,
I was talking about some spa needs on the car on the way.
Doug does have a son in college, and another one starting.
We should sing something before we lose our guests.
Yes.